Thank you.
Very excited. I have Ken Harris here with me, who works with puppets to promote cyberbullying, cyber problems, anything related to cyber. And I think that's pretty cool. So, can you tell us in your own words, what exactly are you doing and how are you doing it?
Yes, first of all, thank you for having me on. I am a member of Puppeteers of America. I've had a lifelong passion for puppetry. I've also have a lifelong passion for learning about scam prevention and cybersecurity awareness for all of us to be aware in different ways to protect ourselves online, whether we're at home or at work. And what I try to do is, as I receive ongoing training from AARP, which is the American Association of Retired Persons, I take this training and I share that on my website, my blog, my newspaper articles that come out monthly, and with my little puppet shows that I share on YouTube. Cybersecurity awareness is a sophisticated issue, meaning that scammers, con artists, they're coming up with different ways to fool people into rendering personal, sensitive information. And what I just pretty much do, I pretty much take everything that I learn on a weekly basis and I share it with my family, friends, followers on Facebook, nextdoor.com for those who reside in my community. And I truly enjoy it. I truly enjoy it because it's helping to make a difference in the world, especially for those who are 50 years old or older, who are more vulnerable to scams these days. And it's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. So glad you're sharing it with us. And you're right. I mean, anyone could be attacked by cyber bullies. Anybody could be scammed online. I mean, no one's exempt, whether you're a college graduate, senior, whatever your age may be. So, can you give us some tips on how to prevent scammers and to be on the lookout so that when we see that email or we see that fishy, whatever it might be, internet thing popping out, we're like, oh my gosh, this is scam alert, alert.
Well, it's very important to understand that scammers or fraudsters, AARP, like to call them fraudsters, they're always chasing the headlines. So whatever is trending in the newspapers, whatever is going on, for example, if there's a health crisis, if there's a national disaster, if there's a big thing about asking for charity funding for a certain cause, cyber attackers chase those headlines. And what they typically do out of the woodworks, they'll send you an email. They'll tell you that what they do is they play on your emotion, and one of the tools they use is a sense of urgency. And the sense of urgency is telling you that you have to make your decision up right then and there, whether it's sharing your bank account information, sharing some information about yourself regarding your health problems or someone that you know. And it's always a too good to be true scenario. What I would advise anyone is that when someone calls you out of the blue, what you want to do is be aware that scammers are using your emotion and they want you to keep you up there in an altitude of emotion rather than logic when you have to make an urgent decision. And I would recommend for anyone is to take your time, sit back, and politely end the phone call and do your own research. There's many different organizations out there to confirm uh, the legitimacy of a business. You have the Better Business Bureau, you have the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. You also have AARP, the Association for Retired Persons, the American Association for Retired Persons. And weekly, these organizations are sharing the latest news and updates with what's happening around the world. Also, you get to see complaints from consumers who have issues with some purported companies, and you can actually hear what your fellow consumers or those who live in your zip code are saying. ARP and the Better Business Bureau actually has what you can put in your zip code, and you can actually see the complaints where you live at and what ratifications was taken in regards to investigating certain allegations of fraud. So it's an excellent tool. Another thing you want to be on the lookout for right now with the COVID-19 scare is a lot. Currently, we have no cure for COVID-19. We have no treatment for that. The Federal Trade Commission issued out warnings to 40 companies in the United States who were supposedly claiming that they had cures for COVID-19 or they had some type of treatment for COVID-19. A lot of that information from the scammers are going out online on social media with pop-ups, phone calls, even letters in the mail. So when we get this information, we have to we're in a new we should have a new way of just sitting back, just waiting for all the excitement to wear off, and then do our own homework as to what is real and what's not. uh, COVID-19 is changing the way how we conduct our lives. And with the COVID-19 related scams, is also affecting how we uh, indulge in our business, whether we're seeking a product or hoping for some type of healthcare help in our personal lives. So it's very important to do our homework and not make an immediate decision. And there are many resources out there who can help us with those type of
And
things.
this is great information. Like you said, COVID-19. Right now, people are in quarantine. They're emotional. Their minds are not working, as they did before because there's so much stress and so much going on. So it's easy to fall trap of scammers. And I want to point out that it's not just businesses, but there's also the romance scammers, which are a pretty big deal. I was a victim of one, I must admit, and I had to learn my lesson the hard way. And I wish I knew it before I got involved with it. But like you said, they use emotions and they use vulnerability, and now is a very vulnerable time. So can you tell us a little bit about the romance scammers and how can people on dating sites or just Facebook or whatever prevent themselves from getting attacked by them?
Yeah, research has shown through AARP that romance scammers, what they do is they develop a long-term relationship with you, and you don't actually see them. Uh, you don't even really talk to them that much on the phone. Occasionally, they'll have some excuse why not to talk to you, whether it's Zoom or FaceTime, and when they spend a lot of time emailing you or instant messaging, and they do it over time. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to build a profile of you, and they're trying to see what your vulnerabilities are. And once they realize it, they'll slowly start asking you for this. I need $20 for this. I need $40 for this. And next thing you know, you're sending them hundreds, $200, $300. And these con artists have they have no desire to ever meet you. They have no desire to uh, understand your feelings and how you feel about the whole thing. Their goal is to just trick you into rendering them money whenever they ask for it. So this is romance scams is a big thing. It's happening all over the world. It's not stopping. But I would advise anyone who go on these dating websites is to do your homework. Never send money to someone you don't know. Be wary of anyone who's asking you to take money for them and put money in your account, because that's called money laundering. What they call as the money mule. What they do is they take money that they steal from people, like other victims, and they're moving money. So in order to not be under law enforcement radar. So that's one thing to be skeptical of. Also, romance scammers, they like to use charity fraud, disaster. They might tell you they're part of some type of charity and they need you to help out with this charity. There's charity.org. You can actually research and find out if a charity is legitimate or not. A lot of once they develop a long time relationship with you, you feel that, oh, I have to trust this person. I would say that even if anybody that you don't know or someone you do know, if they tell you something with our technology these days, it wouldn't hurt to take about 5 minutes to research what they're telling you about just to confirm it and verify.
Exactly. And I want to add to this, if it doesn't add up, if it seems too good to be true, and you can't find information, your alarm should be going ting ting because something's very fishy. And thank God I didn't get to the point of sending money. And I actually fooled the scammer myself because I actually went online, I did my research, and I understood I was getting myself into. And it was, but it was still, I mean, pretty bad experience. And also, people can check with that link, right? Where you put the link, you send them the link, and you can find out where in the world they're located.
Right. They work, I mean, romance scams work in the same way like lottery scams. A lot of these perpetrators, they go on social media. They're actually just going through, so looking at different files. And at AARP, what we recommend for consumers to do is not reveal so much information about you. For example, if someone in your family has a serious diagnosis, or yourself, or a medical situation, don't reveal that. Same thing with your birth date, anniversaries, when you're not going to be home. If you're going on vacation someplace and you're leaving town, you don't want to do that, because scammers, what they also do is they do dumpster diving. They'll look through your trash. What they're trying to do is put pieces of the puzzle that they want to have a profile of you to work off of. And with that profile, they can also, in addition to romance scams, they can also lead to identity theft. Um, what they do is, identity theft is a cause of credit card fraud, and asking of government benefits from perpetrators. So that's another reason you want to be very careful about revealing information on social media about yourself. If you do, I mean, on Facebook, you can actually limit that information to your friends, very close friends, but not to everybody. And you'd be very surprised. Research has shown that a lot of a lot of people on Facebook or Instagram, they don't give a lot of thought into that as to.
Mhm. And the pictures are all out there, social media pictures, everybody can get it, and everybody can use your picture, and it's a mess.
And what scammers take these pictures, like some pictures, and they purport to be, this is me, and they use that in the romance scam. So when you see a picture of a so-called person on a dating website, that don't necessarily mean it's that individual. That picture is actually taken from some social media website, and a little information about that individual is added to that profile. So they're coming up with creative ways to be to be dishonest, and social media is their to go to place to do those type of things.
Exactly. It's just a scary word, and especially now with AI getting better and better and emerging, and all these computers and computerized machines and people using it. It's going to be, I believe, and many others believe, it's going to be the crash of human race eventually, because, of this advancement of AI and the scamming and the cyberbullying. And people have to know it's not safe out there. The internet is not really a safe place, and all that information is being stored, and not everything's private, right? I mean, a lot of the information's not private.
Right, it's out there. I remember reading an article last year, and there was a issue with the servers. A lot of hospitals and medical centers were using an unprotected server, and criminals were hacking into this server, and they were retrieving information about health information about individual status, and they were using that to scam people, and that leads to extortion scams. I mean, you know, individuals been extorted, told that, look, if you scammers have told them, if you don't pay this amount of money, we're going to review this information to your employer. Same thing with websites. They might say, hey, we know you've been on this website you shouldn't have been, but we're going to share this on social media. We recorded you on there. Now, that don't necessarily mean that these scammers actually know exactly what site you've been on, but they use it as a scare tactic. And that's another thing about surfacing the internet. Do not ever go to a website you're not familiar with. You can actually hover over the cursor, and you can see if it has HTTPS. Put it in the browser. You can actually research a website to see if it's legitimate, because a lot of scammers are creating websites that come and go. And we've seen that in the last 2 months. We actually seen that with the healthcare products in regards to face masks and gloves that were never sent to customers. And it really, really was out of control. And it's really, really sad, but it can be prevented. We just have to be very mindful of how we conduct business, who we share information with. Um,
And how
And
can we know that this website is legitimate? Like, for example, you go to a clothing company website, or like you said, your mask company, you think it's legitimate, it looks legitimate, but nothing arrives when you pay for it.
right.
What are some of the, details, little or not so little, to pay attention to when
Well, at,
investigating?
at AARP, we try to strive to inform consumers. Don't buy from an unfamiliar marketplace. What you can do is, if you see a questionable business that's reaching out to you, or you just happen to stumble upon it, you can do some research. You can actually go to the Better Business Bureau website and see if that organization actually exists, and if it's official. You also have the Federal Trade Commission. You have that website. You have AARP. You have your Attorney General. Each state has their Attorney General's office. There's so many things, and these organizations and department offices have reviews of these organizations, so you can actually research. I would be very skeptical about purchasing any products from a company that I'm not familiar with, or there's no reviews, no official reviews on it. um, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's fake, but if it's not like an established company or organization, I would not gamble with that.
But these are really, really awesome and great tips. But what I want to know is, how are you using the puppets to communicate that very important message? And why the puppets?
Well, I've had a lifelong passion for puppetry, and me and my brother, we've had puppets growing up. I mean, if I had a doll, and if I'm 7 years old, I have a doll, I would tear the doll and make a puppet out of the doll. And no one's ever told me you should be a puppetry. It's like a personal passion I've had with. And then I combined that with my liking of learning cybersecurity. I remember in the 1980s, my father, he worked in computers, and he told me the computers were going to change the world. And I said, Dad, I just want to play video games on it. I don't want to get into that part of it. I had the Commodore 64, I had the Apple, and that sort of thing. And now, so many years later, I won't reveal my age. So many years later, I said, wow, computers is the thing of the future. Everyone's using the computer for something. Why not? Why not use puppetry to educate the public about cyber attacks and cyberbullying and fraud? And I think this is great for puppetry. Is great for senior citizens. It's proven. There's been research that's shown that puppetry has helped those with dementia. If you can relate a story that they're familiar with, that they can relate to, it brings them out of their isolation and allows them to open up. And it also, puppetry also brings out, I'm sure we all can connect with some sort of scam, whether it's a phone call or a letter in the mail. It's something that we can relate to. And I've really had fun creating these short puppet videos. I'm actually, my aim is to create one video a week along with my articles, put it in with my articles, a little short clip to get those engaged with puppetry. And I got some feedback from friends who are senior citizens. They truly enjoy these puppet shows. And I'm just telling myself, why stop now? Just keep going all the way with it and see how far I can go with it.
That is awesome. I gotta tell you, I love puppets because I myself play with some puppets, and what I found out is I'm able to say things I wouldn't necessarily say without the puppet, but with the puppet, I'm like, oh, and then you feel like you're healed, and then you released it, and it's not like you said it; it was the puppet that said it. And if you have not played with puppets, you wouldn't know necessarily, about that effect and what I'm talking about. But uh,
Yes.
and you've prepared something really cool for us to see exactly what I'm talking about. So I can't wait to see the skit you have prepared.
All right. Well, I created a fictional radio show. It's called SWRS, Shadow World Radio Station. And the segment of the show is called Cyber Brats. And you have this guy here. His name is Cyber Sly. He
Hi,
is.
Sly.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Hi. And he's the host of the radio station. And he's a former cyber attacker. So right now he's trying to make a difference in the world and try to pick up the pieces of his life. And this is his co-host. His name is Alexander Midas. And Alexander Midas is an everyday senior citizen. He's a victim of a cyber attacker. Matter of fact, he lost his business It's called the Midas Ice Cream Corporation. He lost his business due to a breach in his security system, and he lost everything. And now he's resentful. He does not like cyber attackers, and he does not like Cyber Sly. He cannot be trusted. He can't. So that's him. And then this is Brenda Basics. Brenda is the host, owner, operator of SWRS, and she's always in a hurry, and she's always paranoid, and she's just, put that down, Brenda. I gotta go. I just can't stay here, but just be careful, everybody. Be careful with cyber attacks. I gotta go. Bye-bye. That's Brenda. And
Bye, Brenda.
yeah, and this is our scammer. His name is Jester Jensen, and he's a scammer, and he's always bragging and telling, hey, if you can come get me, and I'm a con artist, and you know what? Why is my art not in the museum? I'm a con artist. So that's him. So if you don't mind, I'd like to put on a little show.
Oh yes, we love that.
Okay. So this takes place in a radio station. And again, this is Cyber Sly. And he's very eager to be here. And again, this is Alexander Midas. And I always start off the show like this. SWRS, Shadow World Radio Station. Welcome to the program segment of Cyber Brats. I am your host, Cyber Sly, here on the mic with co-host Alex Midas. What's so funny? I don't know what to make of this. You know what? Alex has been laughing all morning since we got in here. This is unusual, very unusual. But he promised me he will reveal what is making him laugh. So go ahead. What sets me apart from Cyber Sly is my preference to enjoy luxury without being a thief. I just found out I won an all-expense-paid trip to the Bahamas. It came in the nick of time because I do need a vacation. Wait a minute. We've been on the air for less than a year, and you need a vacation? Cyber Sly, don't be a hater. While I'm away for 2 weeks, you alone can purge in your own lies about human decency. Well, how did you win this trip to the Bahamas? I am a random winner of a grand prize sponsored by Fashion Empire magazine. Fashion what? I never heard of them. Maybe they came around when you were collecting debts in prison. Did this contest require you to enter a sweepstakes or something? I didn't do anything. Never signed up for anything. I just received an email informing my great name as the winner of the big prize. I don't think you're mindful of being safe online. Now, did this email require you to pay a fee in order to collect the prize? What does that have to do with being a winner? Yes or no? Well, yes. I wired a $500 processing fee. That was it. That's all they paid for a trip that's worth $10,000. Who would turn that down? That offer was too good to be true. It sounds like a phishing attack. What are you looking at on the computer screen? Oh no. Fashion Empire's website is nowhere to be found on the internet. This can only mean one thing. It means you won't be going to the Bahamas. It also means you lost $500 to a scam artist. You have been baited like fish. Oh no! My friends, please be careful of suspicious emails and phishing attacks by scammers. They will try to offer you money and vacation packages in return for your hard-earned dollars. What seems like happiness is actually not. Their objective is to trick you into doing something you shouldn't do. Be mindful of these type of scams, as they are far from the truth. Don't get hooked like fish. Stay vigilant and share your experience with the scams with the Federal Trade Commission and AARP. Until next time, my friends, stay safe and stay secure. And I can't believe my mustache is coming off. This is so embarrassing. Bye.
That was so awesome.
Thank you. I've talked to members of my organization, Puppeteers of America, and they seem really interested. They say, yeah, okay, let's see how this thing goes. This is so different. It's a different concept, using puppets to educate seniors, their
Kids,
caretakers.
you can even educate kids because kids are on the internet constantly, and especially now with all these predators and looking for them, and parents not always having control. I think the puppets could be a great educational tool to educate kids on bullying and other dangerous things on the internet, right?
Yes, I have actually I did about several shows for preschools last year and the Boys and Girls Club in my area, and I noticed the teachers told me that the kids were very attuned to what was going on because they'd never seen a puppet show. A lot of these kids never seen a live puppet show, and they were just so attuned to what I was doing, and I truly enjoyed it. I wish I did it 20 years earlier, but this is a great tool, a great educational resource for anybody, kids, adults, senior citizens. And I'm just excited to be on this ride. My goal is to eventually just do live shows in the area. But for now, with the COVID-19, actually doing these little short videos to help others is invaluable. It's
I
just
think it's
invaluable.
awesome because nowadays people are looking for that positivity and some hope and something fun, when everything else is so unclear and uncertain. So you can let us know where they can find this video so they can keep an eye on them and
Certainly.
educate themselves and have fun. Where can they find them?
Well, I have a blog at https / kenharrisnews.com. I will share that with you. I also have a monthly article in the newspaper that's available for free online. Um, and also I have a YouTube channel. So I'm using these platforms to spread the word, to keep puppetry alive. Puppetry's been around for hundreds and well, I should say thousands of years. So I'm spreading cybersecurity awareness, and I'm keeping puppetry alive. And I hope that the education, I just really hope that it touches the hearts of individuals and they see it worthwhile, and more important for me, for those who can just exercise caution. And if I can take one person who's careful out there, it means a lot because I really do this to help others. It's really great.
And I'm so thankful to you for doing this because puppetry is awesome. You're teaching a very important subject that many people have to be aware about. And especially now in COVID, when things are just, it's a scary time, and these cyber attackers are taking advantage of the vulnerability and uncertainty and just preying on people. And it's good to know what to watch out for. And what else has COVID taught you, or what else have you learned, or what else do you want to share with us since this COVID time started and since
Mm.
this madness and uncertainty started?
Well, we
How are
see.
you, and also how are you handling it?
Oh, I'm handling it very well. I spend a lot of time learning, reading. It's invaluable learning, and then just putting it to use online and sharing the information I know. Um, we've seen an uptick with investment fraud. Whenever the economy is shaky or there's doubt about the economy, you might have organizations promoting gold and silver coins, the value of it, buy now because it's going to be worth something in the future. But a lot of these organizations who are selling these gold coins and silver coins, they sell it at a 300 to 500% markup. So you're not really gaining anything. You're actually losing money. And then it's just worthless. So I would tell, watch out for investment fraud and watch out for the free lunch scam. That is like there's a seminar and 100 people are invited to the seminar, and the host will tell you you have to make up your decision today for this investment opportunity or you miss out on it. We're starting to see that with COVID-19 related health products coming out there that's not real. So I would tell everyone to be careful of that. And then we touched off on disaster related charity fraud. Do your homework, check out charity.org, check the Better Business Bureau, research any charity that you've never heard of, because that money can actually be going to an organization that's really helping others who need it. So really do some research into that. And of course, the sweetheart scams. sweetheart scams is individuals are looking on social media for anyone who's living alone, especially elderly, and they're trying to offer you something that you don't have. They claim they can offer you companionship. They're not going to offer you companionship. They're going to ask you for your money. So be careful with that. And the lottery scam, as we just saw with the puppet show, lottery scam, foreign lottery scams are illegal. So if someone calls you and tells you you won the lottery, and you don't recall entering a lottery, that should be some red flags right there. So don't fall into that. And the grandparent scam is one of the most common type of scams where an elderly grandparent will get a call in the middle of the night, inform them that their grandchild is in trouble and some money is needed to bail them out of jail, that sort of thing. Don't do it. Hang up the phone, call the relative of your grandchild to verify if your grandchild is in jail. And if anyone's asking you for gift cards to provide over the phone, that should be some red flags right then and there. You can actually call the police department in the so-called place that the individual was in trouble with, or the hospital, if the person has to be in the hospital, to verify if the individual is there. You don't have to take the person's word for it on the phone. Just be very careful with that.
Wow, these are priceless tips. I mean, it's so good to hear it from the expert because we can all do the research online, but we get lost in all this information, and it's good to be broad here. Simple and easy. Just pay attention, be smart, do your research, and don't be, you know, be vulnerable, but don't be too vulnerable and let the wrong people in. And finally, I would love if you can use one of your puppets to send your final message to everyone that's watching. And what would that message be?
Okay. Watch out for scammers like Jester Jensen. Suspicious links. Do not fall for suspicious links. Go to your browser. Check with the Better Business Bureau. Check the Federal Trade Commission because Jester Jensen is watching you. That's all I can tell you about. Watch out for suspicious links. Again, if you get like I send emails out to people all the time, and I get emails from people out of the woodwork. But what I do is when I get an email, I hover my cursor over it. I see where it's going. HTTPS. I always look for that. Or I just go to my browser and I type it in. And then I just look and I just cursor over that to see if it's a legitimate website. And I don't even click on that. I actually do my own work. I see, okay, is this organization legitimate? Let me just see. I just have that mindset. And I think it would help consumers just have a mindset of research. And like if you want, when you go to college, you research the college you want to go to. You're not going to go to any college. You want to read reviews. You want to hear what people have to say. In this world today, we're going to have to research everything we do. And there's nothing, especially right now, we have a lot of time to research. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. This has been great, Ken. And if people have questions or they want to know more, where can they follow you or find you?
Well, they can find me if they go to YouTube channel, YouTube, and you just put in my name, Ken Harris, Shadow World Puppets. All my videos will pop up. And in the descriptions, there's my email, there's my website, my blog, access to my newspaper articles. I'm also a blogger. You can find me on Blogger, Ken Harris, Shadow World, Ken Harris News. I'm also I write for my local newspaper about scams. The Point of View Community News Magazine is available online and digital. So you can always click and check out those articles there. And I'm always welcome to feedback. But what I would like the audience to do is share this information. Learn what's going on around you. Check your newspapers, find out about the scams, go to AARP, put in your zip code, find out what's going on, share it with your relatives, your friends, your neighbors, and just spread the word. Be careful out there.
Awesome. Spread the word. Get the conversation going and don't stop it. Let's not forget about it with all the COVID information. It gets diluted. So very important. Well, awesome having you, Ken. Thanks again for sharing that information and doing the puppet show. It was awesome. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bye, Ken.